Hey there, and welcome back to Start Adventuring, a channel dedicated to empowering new role players to break down their barriers and just start adventuring. I'm Baxter.
And I'm Ben. And this week we are jumping into our third installment of the Candlekeep Mysteries one-on-one campaign. We're switching back. I am DMing again, this time taking on the third adventure in the Candlekeep Mysteries anthology, Book of the Raven by Christopher Perkins, which I will be running for Baxter's Druid, Sylvo Brightscale.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun making him in the Session 0. If you guys want, check that out. But I'm really excited to get into kind of Sylvo's venture into Candlekeep.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get into it, I do just want to say, if you enjoy what we're doing here at the channel and you want to support our mission of encouraging, inclusive, and accessible D&D, give this video a like and please subscribe. We'd love to have you be a part of the community we're trying to build here. But with all that said, let's see what happens when Sylvo goes to Candlekeep. So, it is another beautiful morning at Candlekeep. Excited seekers crowding around the lines leading up to the entranceway, hoping to get into the Court of Air. Sylvo Brightscale, you have come to Candlekeep, as you said, seeking knowledge of dragons, as is your wont. What book have you brought to hopefully get entrance? You kind of approach these lines.
Sylvo is going to ruffle through a little sack that he carries with the books that he currently has. One of them is there are obviously, different kinds of guides on dragons, some anatomy books. So he has a bunch of different ones that he's already read that he's hoping he can give to the attendants here at Candlekeep. So he pulls out.
So I think it's like a whole selection.
Yeah, he has a bunch that he's already read through. Like it's almost like he's thinking of it like a trading situation, right? Like he wants to give this book in hopes of getting another one or being able to read the libraries at Candlekeep. So he pulls out. We'll say it's an anatomy of dragons.
Great. Yeah, so you're looking at Anatomy of Dragons. Actually, somebody in front of you in line kind of turns around as you pull the book out. It's a human person, looks at you and says, Anatomy of Dragons. So it's a good choice. I hope they take it.
Yeah, so Sylvo kind of snickers to himself and looks down and says, yeah, I hope so.
And as you're kind of doing that, I need you to make a perception check for me.
Ooh. Sorry, it was I of all things not to have in front of me.
No D20.
Perception, that is going to be a 10. I'm looking down. Sylvo's looking down.
Yeah, Sylvo is struck with, I guess, talking to this person in front of him, looking down at the ground. As you're doing that, Sylvo, you feel something not heavy, but something with some mass collide with your shoulder, and you take, I got from a little D4. You take a point of damage, of bludgeoning damage, as you hear above you the screech of a bird, and a raven passes overhead. As you... And you've felt this impact on your shoulder, and the raven passes overhead and starts to circle around back toward you.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to try and calm him, or just put my hand out. Maybe Brightscale, my familiar, kind of goes on, and I just kind of say quietly, I'm a friend. I'm a friend.
You say this. You can speak to animals, right? You have the ability to do that, or
well,
is this just...
I do not have this. It would be a ritual cast, and I don't think I have 10 minutes before I can.
No, yeah. I didn't know if your circle abilities gave you the... I think it's that you can understand animals or something like that.
Let me check for you. It's something... It's not quite that. It is... You learn to speak, read, and write Sylvan, Beasts can understand your speech, and you gain the ability to decipher their noises and motions. So I think it's less that we are having direct conversation and more that they understand me and I understand them.
Right. Yeah, you see as you say this to the raven, it looks at you and its eyes are kind of wide, but it does put its wings out and slow down as it swoops at your hip and dives down. You see it lands on a black book with a tattered cover. You realize as you follow the raven with your vision that this book is what impacted your shoulder. And it's kind of just laying on the ground now, but the raven picks it up in its talons and looks to you longingly. You can understand their gestures and things, so you get the sense that the raven wanted your attention, not to hurt you.
Oh, okay, cool. Sylvo says, "Oh, what's this, old friend?" And he kind of gently kneels down to pick up the book with the raven on it.
The raven does recoil as you reach down, but as it sees that you pick up the book, it kind of relents a little bit. Make a nature check for me.
Ooh. Fun fact about Sylvo. He is definitely, he's a druid and he's got great animal handling, but his nature, ooh, he is proficient in it, but that's a 5 + 2 is 7.
Yeah, with a 7, it's hard to say what exactly the deal is here, but something feels slightly unnatural about the way this raven is communicating with you, especially, I'll say, Sylvo being someone who communicates with animals in this way often.
Right.
The raven seems to have slightly higher intelligence, maybe. There's like a knowingness in its eyes, but it's hard for you to tell what the deal is with that because you are used to, communicating with animals. So you understand all animals are more intelligent than we give them credit for, kind of thing, right?
Sure, yeah.
But the raven lets you take the book, and actually it starts to bend its head and stick its beak into a section of the book that it pulls open to a page that you see has several peck marks on various words.
Ooh, okay. What are
and
the
it
words?
Kind of looks up at you expectantly.
Yeah, what are the words?
So, what you can read quickly on this page, as you're waiting in line. The lines at Candlekeep are always so long, you have plenty of time to read, and the raven is happy for you to take a look at it.
Yeah, I imagine he's sitting on my shoulder, with Bright Scale on the other one, as we kind of are looking at this book.
The raven kind of looks at me. The raven kind of looks at Bright Scale a little bit distraught, but is happy that you're reading the book. This is telling a story about a woman who fell ill and was taken in by a caravan of people called Vistani. You don't know much about Vistani at all. You could make a history check for me but I don't think you have much reason to know about them unless.
Man. Sylvo's rolling low. That's a 5 total.
Yeah, so you're not really sure what the Vistani are about, but there are references in this particular part of the text to the end of a journey where this caravan of Vistani came upon a black dragon who had set up shop in the Shadowfell, protecting a black dragon in the Shadowfell that had hoarded a bunch of treasure and brought it into the Shadowfell to get it away from the material plane. You, Baxter, are you familiar with the Shadowfell? I know you're not a big Forgotten
I'll be honest,
Realms.
no, I don't. I imagine it's some form of ether realm that,
it's another plane of existence that's like very grim, dark, and spooky.
Okay.
But the point is that the dragon absconded with its treasure, took its hoard into the Shadowfell to keep it safe. And these Vistani stumbled upon the dragon's hoard, crossing into the Shadowfell, and were attacked. Fell on hard times. But this passage has been pecked by, might assume, the raven, to indicate its importance. The raven kind of nudges you as you read the pages and looks at you.
Sylvo's going to kind of look at the raven, look down, look out over Candlekeep, and realize that, and he can come back another time. He's gonna leave the line and start walking, in this passageway, is there any kind of indication of how to get, is there any... The raven really seems like it wants me to do something. Is there, direction someplace or something like that other than just the story? Because it seems to me
So in the story, there are no directions. You would know that getting into the Shadowfell is generally a kind of production, for lack of a better term. There are various crossings that can be that serve as boundaries between the planes. But as you look resolved and start to leave the line, the raven jumps up off your shoulder and spins around in the sky. You take this to mean that the raven is trying to signal you to follow.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Sylvo had a good instinct then. Yes, because Sylvo, the way that I see this is as soon as Sylvo saw that there is a black dragon involved somewhere, his main goal is to go study that. So he kind of got, in his mind, a freebie. He didn't even have to wait in line to get into Candlekeep or trade one of his books. He just now...
Yeah, he got a special book right off the bat. Because he looked like a nice guy to animals, I guess. As the raven is circling overhead and you start to head out, though, you feel something drop from the book as it's kind of loose in your grip and you start to close it.
Ooh, okay.
A piece of parchment drops from the book and settles on the ground beside you.
Sylvo would pick it up.
I assume you would, but I didn't want to make that call for you. But
no, that's okay.
As you look at it and you realize that it also has these peck marks on it, and it is a map, a treasure map.
Oh, well, hey.
Yeah, nice and convenient. This raven did a lot of work ahead of time for you, I guess. But you see, it's a map that leads through various landmarks south. It reads, follow the trail to the Hand and Horn, past Three Tree Hill, over River Worn to the Worm's Mark. In the foggy moors west of there, the treasure's yours. And you see these various landmarks that lead to a crater created by a black dragon. You see a marking that says Scorch of the Black Worm. And just to the west of that is an image of a house with ravens flocking around it.
I imagine that might be where this raven's from. Maybe this raven is trying to get me to go there. I mean, I'm sorry. Based on that description, the treasure is there, or the treasure is around that area?
Make an investigation check as you look at the map more closely.
Oh, that's going to be plus 0, but 16 still.
As you're looking at the image of the house that's at the end of this sort of, Pirates X marks the spot treasure map, in the back, you see what looks like a rendering of tombstones and a black vortex kind of drawn, not faintly, but small, with an X through it.
Oh, okay. So my assumption, as a player, I think Sylvo would probably come to a similar idea, is that is a gateway into the, I'm sorry, what was it called? The other plane of existence?
The Shadowfell.
The Shadowfell. Because you said...
As you're pondering this, you hear the raven squawk loudly above you and continue to spin around. It kind of dips down by and swings by before going back up into the sky in these kind of big arcs, seeming impatient.
Yeah. Sylvo is going to go, yell up, sorry, and start following wherever the raven is leading. And as he's kind of running, he taps Bright Scale on the head and says, looks like we're going to have an adventure.
Yeah, Bright Scale kind of preens a little bit. I don't know what Bright Scale sounds like, but he makes
Bright Scale
cute
doesn't
sounds
make noise.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
I think Bright Scale is like yeah, just kind of, it's very expression based. And in terms of like, it really is, I think, just an extension of Sylvo, right? As all familiars are.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Brightscale just makes a determined expression as you say this, and the raven jets off to the south, and you begin to follow behind. Now, Sylvo is relatively adept at moving through the wilderness, right?
Oh yeah, Sylvo, because of his experience doing field work and stuff, he has become proficient in survival. So yes, definitely pretty good in terms of navigating.
Yeah. This is where I'm going to do a little bit of hand waving and say that the raven leads you on a day-long journey following the landmarks on this map. Go ahead and make for me a survival check just to make sure you're kind of plotting out your course well as you follow behind this raven that's obviously flying. I mean, the raven is going to be doing what it can to help you keep track, but you may still have some work to do.
23.
Oh, 23.
23.
You managed to follow this raven pretty easily through the forested hills, past an abandoned village, which you read on the map is called Which Way, down and around these
Which way did
landmarks.
I go at Which Way?
You went to the west at Which Way until you hit the Hand and the Horn and turned south across the river that's marked on the map until finally, towards sunset, you reach an area of Earth that is blackened with smoke rising around it. This is a pretty desolate area, and the raven doesn't make a lot of time dawdling by this, but you know from the map that this is what's called the Scorch of the Black Worm. Not a lot of information about what it is, but it's a pretty...
I can guess what that is just by the name. Sylvo gets very excited, and I would like to start... Can I take a little sample of some of the soil for testing? Because Sylvo, immediately, that to me reads as the Scorch of the Black Worm being an area that a black dragon went over, and I mean, I don't think they use fire, but whatever their magic equivalent would be.
It would appear that whatever this dragon is had some access to something to do that seemed like fire, though, because the ground is pretty barren at this place.
Maybe it's like shadow fire.
Yeah, hard to say, but...
Who knows?
But out of interest, I think easy enough to do, you can take a sample of this soil. The raven, as you're doing that, you hear a loud squawk, and the raven turns around and lands by the Scorch and looks at you, kind of shaking its head and cawing. Again, it's looking at you in the eyes, and make an insight check.
That's a 20. A dirty 20, but a 20.
What you had suspected before about this raven being more intelligent than you thought continues to nag at you as you look at the raven. And as its eyes meet yours, there's a sort of like sadness and desperation in its eyes.
Ooh. I want to pat it on the head and say, "Don't worry, little fella. I'll get you home." And I want to try to get him onto my finger and then put him onto my other shoulder. And Brightscale's going to give him a determined little couple nods of encouragement.
Make an animal handling check for me as you try to do all of this. I'll say with advantage because you're just so magnanimous with the animals.
Wow, that's nice. That's a 16 plus 5, 21, my friend.
The raven's a little bit hesitant as you do this, but it does kind of soften as you speak to it and eventually does let you put it on its shoulder. You know at this point there's nothing left to do on the map except to just head west until you find whatever the end point of this journey is supposed to be.
Okay, well, I guess I'll say westward then, and start walking westward to wherever it leads.
Yeah, and the raven actually stays on your shoulder as you do this, taking a little rest. It's been flying all day. And you can feel it kind of nestle into the crook of your neck, Sylvo. and it's warm, and kind of nice maybe. This raven that has been otherwise pretty severe seems a little bit docile, taking a rest as you make the last leg of the journey. And as the sun is finally going down and darkness is starting to go in the sky, you begin to approach a forlorn hill that reaches up to a small chalet, a little country house that looks like it was once very nice, but has clearly fallen into disrepair. You see various other ravens are leaving their roost on the building as the sun is setting. They light off of the roof and off of the walkways and things around the chalet as you start to climb the hill toward that location. And as you do that, the raven on your shoulder lets out a chirp and launches. You feel its talons kind of push on your shoulder as it launches up and flies into an upstairs window in the chalet and disappears inside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Sylvo's just going to try to, as hurriedly as he can, kind of climb up and get into that chalet.
So it's a desolate hill. There's no activity save for all of these ravens flocking around, but you do hear their flitting wings and squawking as you reach the threshold of this chalet. Cobwebs and other evidence of disrepair are apparent as you open the door and enter into the building. In the very entryway is what appears to be a cloakroom. There are a few cloaks and other articles of clothing that are just hung up. And also seems to be a door leading into additional rooms and also a stairway that leads down in this area. But rather than necessarily explaining kind of room by room, what's Sylvo's intention as you enter into the building?
I'm just trying to find the raven more than anything, wherever the raven is. I think no special care is being taken other than trying to discern where they are.
So when you enter in, the first thing you see is a stairwell that goes down, or a doorway forward. So based on what you've said, you would head straight ahead to see what you can see inside. And as you enter into the ground floor area, again, you pass by what appears to be a entry room den. There's in this room that you first enter, it appears that this maybe was some sort of hunting lodge at some point, because there are various trophies on the walls, and also areas on the wall where it looks like maybe something had been hung up and taken down. But like you said, not a whole lot of care is being taken to look at this stuff. As you enter in, right to the left, there's a stairway that leads up. You saw the raven fly into an upstairs room, so I imagine you are turning that corner and heading upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I think he is almost more one track. Like, I don't even know if he's really taking in too much about the surroundings, though he does, as a wanderer, he has a great knack for the layouts of certain of areas once he's in them. So I think that his main goal is to find where the raven went.
So, as Sylvo rushes past the rooms and the den in the downstairs and heads up the stairs do creak as you walk on them. It's not Candlekeep Mysteries if there aren't creaky stairs. But as you walk up those stairs, you do hear the sound of something moving, almost like... Make a perception check for me.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, that's good. It is a nat 19. You said perception?
Mm-hmm.
That is a 22. Gosh, Sylvo had a bad run at the beginning, but he is rolling high now.
You hear a couple of things in rapid succession. One is the sound of something moving downstairs, and it does with a 22. I'll say it sounds to you like feathers flapping. But then, immediately after, you hear what sounds like snorting a pig or something snorting somewhere downstairs.
Oh, wow, okay.
But you are headed up the stairs. You just hear that as you're going.
Okay. Do I get the perception that this is the raven I'm looking for is downstairs with the sounds of those feathers, like it's moved,
It's extremely hard to say. You know that you saw a bunch of other ravens also around the chalet, so like
I would go investigate the room it flew into first, I think.
The upstairs, you're still headed upstairs?
Yes, I think I would investigate where I saw the raven enter.
So, as you head up the stairs, as I said, you pass by the creaky stairs and up past a parlor room with a desk and some furniture for sitting in clear disuse. There's still cobwebs on all of this stuff, giving more the sense that this place is abandoned. But as you turn the corner in the second floor and look down the hallway, you do see there's a hallway that goes off to the right, a hallway that goes forward, and then veers off to the right further down, and then a door to the left of the hallway straight ahead of you. But you don't immediately see another stairway when you get to this level. Also, make a perception check for me.
Let's see, 16.
You do notice one door in that hallway that goes off to the right is slightly ajar.
Oh, definitely would probably sneak in over. Well, hold on. You said I don't have a good idea about which one was the one that the raven flew into?
It appeared as though the raven flew into a window at the highest point of this building.
But
make
okay.
Make an intelligence check just to see how well you remember what you saw from outside.
11.
Yeah, it was the highest point in the building, but you're not really sure if it was a second floor or if there's another floor up.
Okay.
There was like a tower part, but the tower was destroyed.
Okay. I'm looking for stairs then, more or less. So I would go to that room that is slightly ajar, because I think that someone might have been using it.
As you peek in, you see what appears to be a guest bedroom of some kind. The only reason that you assume a guest bedroom is all of the furniture in this place has been pretty ornate, and there have also been, various sort of personal touches, those trophies and things. But this room doesn't have a lot of decoration. It's just basically a bed and a dresser. But make a perception check for me as you're looking at this room.
Golly, man, perception out the wazoo, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to see.
21.
With a 21, as you're looking into this room, you can hear some ways below you the sound of a man screaming.
Whoa. Oh, golly. Some ways below me? Like further down than the first floor?
It's hard to say, but it is some ways below you. With the 21, it was a faint sound that you heard.
Okay. That sounds intense. I suppose I would proceed with caution, but I'd want to go. I think Sylvo would go and investigate that, but again, he's kind of timid, and I don't necessarily think he's the most courageous person in these kinds of situations. So I think he would be very kind of cautious and try and see before he jumps right in.
So you're headed back downstairs, or where? When you say you're going to go investigate
the sound of the scream. So if the scream came from downstairs, yes, then I think he would kind of.
As you retrace your steps to that first floor and you enter back into that den and look around, further in on that first floor, you do find a kitchen and a dining room. But as you look through the rooms on the first floor, you don't see anything of particular interest. Or at least there are no living people, it seems, on this floor.
Okay, super weird. Can I just want to, like... I don't see any... when I entered when I was, like, coming in, there wasn't any kind of, like, cellar doors or anything to a basement or anything like that outside.
There was a stairwell right inside in that cloakroom when you first walked in.
Yeah, Sylvo, I'm gonna go there, man. I'm gonna proceed with caution, but I'm gonna go there.
So, as you head down into the cellar, the first thing you notice is that the temperature kind of drops precipitously. It's colder down here. It could be owing to the fact that the walls are made of stone, the stairs are made of stone. Everything is stone down here and brick, as opposed to the kind of wood and leather that has been in other places in this chalet. As you come down, you can feel the air change as you open a door into the cellar at the bottom of this stairway. Another door across the way, which appears to have been slightly ajar, swings open with the change in air pressure and slams against the wall. But you don't see anybody standing there.
Okay, yes. So Sylvo is going to grab Brightscale and put him kind of under his cloak, under his arm, under the cloak to make sure that he feels warm and protected. And then he's going to
he
run
makes
back
a
upstairs.
not so happy expression.
Yeah. Sylvo's going to run back upstairs because he's pretty sure that this is a ghost situation. He hasn't done a lot of research, but this just screams ghost vibes. And
okay, so you're running back up the stairs.
No, he's going, and he's running fully like up the stairs, to again try to see if he can find a way up. He wants to get up to wherever that raven was going.
So how are you looking for so you go back, that area that you were in, it appears that there's just a second guest room. It's two guest rooms next to each other, but there's still the rest of the hallway that goes down. There's a door on the left and a door on the right, and then the hallway seems to continue and go off to the right on the second floor.
He's gonna literally just go door to door, looking in them to see if he can find a way up.
Great.
So as he comes to them.
With that, the first door that you open, the door on the left, the one that you encounter first, when you open it, right in front of you, you do see a stairwell that seems to go up into what appears to be, simply based on what you can see at the top of the stairs, it's just more basic sort of wood, what feels like an attic area up there. There's even like a little trap door that's open at the top there.
Yeah.
Also, make a perception check.
Nat 20 plus 3.
You hear, again, that snorting sound, followed by the flutter of feathers. But with a nat 20, I'll tell you, you hear that flutter of feathers seem to get louder, and it appears to terminate somewhere down the rest of the hallway here. So you know how I said there was a door on the right and then the hallway continues on? You hear the sound get louder of the feathers and then stop, seemingly down this hallway with a nat 20, I'll tell you that.
Down the hallway of the second floor or down the hallway
Yes.
of the cellar? Okay, I'm going...
No. So you can go up to the cellar, but there's also that hallway that it goes further down in the second floor, and that's where it sounds like those feathers were.
Yeah, but there's also the sound of a pig, right? Like, I think this could be...
Yeah, you're hearing some kind of snorting sound that was... With a nat 20, I'll say the snorting sound sounded like it was on the ground floor. Then you heard feathers that got louder and seemed to end on the second floor.
Okay, then what I would like to do is, I guess he's going to go investigate the sounds of the feathers, thinking that it could be the raven. And he's going to just kind of proceed with caution, but head down where he heard that noise.
Yeah, Brightscale kind of looks up at you nervously as you round the corner and head to what you see in front of you is a shut door. After the hallway turns right, it extends a little ways down until it hits just a doorway. And you can hear faintly, as you approach the doorway, speaking on the other side of the door.
I can't make out what they're saying?
Make a perception check.
19. Wow.
Through the doorway, you can hear kind of excited but hushed voices. Did he leave? Did he go? And then someone else says, I did the snorting thing. I did the pig thing. He didn't go down. He's still up here.
Sylvo is going to quickly back away, and he looks at Brightscale, and he kind of... So, I think in his mind right now, Sylvo does not like interacting with people. As of right now, there's no guarantee that they are people behind the door, but based on the language and the back and forth, they are at least more humanoid than animal. Sylvo is going to quickly try to just get upstairs. He's got the one-track mind. He's trying to follow the Raven. So he trusts the Raven. He's going to see if he can keep going further up.
So the stairs terminate as you head up to the stairs, you enter into the first part of that attic area. This is what appears to be a study. There's a desk and various bookshelves, as well as a fireplace there. But since you're looking for stairs, you would see there is a spiral staircase that goes up higher into sort of like another area, even higher up in this attic.
Yeah, Sylvo at this point, he's a little scared. He knows that they know he's in there, and he's just trying to get to his destination. So he's just running up the stairs.
As you reach the top of the stairs, you are greeted by the image of a room. You come into a room, and there are 2 wooden cradles and a playpen in this room. As you look around, it feels like some kind of child's nursery with 2 different beds. And that Raven who led you here is perched on one of those beds, and as you come in, it turns its head and looks at you and squawks.
He says, "Oh, I found you, boy." And he kind of pats it on the head and tries to get it to come back onto his shoulder.
As you go to put it back on your shoulder, it kind of starts for a second and flies toward one of the shelves where there are various dolls and other toys that might have belonged to a young girl. They knock the dolls off the shelf, and all of a sudden, they start to vibrate on the floor.
The dolls do? Creepy.
The dolls do.
Sylvo is startled and begins walking backwards, trying to coax the Raven to him.
The Raven caws loudly and doesn't move, and looks at you intently as these dolls start to raise up off the floor.
Sylvo just starts running the F downstairs. He's done. He's out. He doesn't know what this place is. He thought he was going to be around dragons. He's scared sufficiently, and he just starts making a mad dash from the top of the house to the door.
As you are dashing down the spiral staircase through the study, you hear behind you, "Wait!" As you keep running down the stairs again till you get into that second floor hallway, and as you are going, make for me a dexterity saving throw.
That's another nat 20 plus 2? Plus 2.
As you come down this stairwell and turn the corner, just in the flash of a moment with this nat 20, you see a black-robed figure come into view and stop just in time to avoid running directly into them. they turn to you and you get a better look at them. It is a woman in her mid-50s in a black robe that has a bright red sash holding the robe together. She looks very startled as you run down the stairs, and she is kind of stunned, standing there looking at you. Because you got such a good roll on your dexterity check, I'm gonna let you kind of make the first move here. But she looks clearly...
Sylvo wouldn't be trying to interact with anybody. He would sooner think that this is the sorceress that is doing all of this stuff, and he would just be trying to get past her and get out the door.
So as you do this, she... I'll say with your nat 20 dexterity check, you just dodge out of the way, kind of give her a look. Bright Scale kind of gives her a look, and you run out of this building, or you run out of this hallway, back down the stairs into the den with all the trophies, past that, into the cloakroom. You get to the front door, and you see that it has been barred shut.
Okay, he just says... I just want out of here, please. I don't know what's going on. I just want out of here.
As you say that, you hear a voice from... There's a moment of silence as that hangs in the air, and then you hear, well, we want you out of here too. And around into the coat room comes that woman that you ran into upstairs. And she says to you, have you come to steal our things? Have you not come to steal our things?
He's not making eye contact. He's looking down at the ground, and he says, I was following the raven, I was following the raven. And he reaches into his bag and pulls out the Book of the Raven and hands it to her.
She looks kind of surprised by this information, especially she seems to react to this statement about following the raven, and she looks at the book and kind of thumbs through it. She looks at the map, and then she says to you, which raven did you follow here?
The one in the turret up at the tallest part of the tower.
She kind of looks back and forth, and she calls, Rennick, Vinnick, come on out. And all of a sudden you hear that flapping of wings again as two ravens fly into this cloakroom, kind of disturbing all of the coats and things that are around. And then, in an instant, their feathers turn flesh-colored and turn into waving robes as they transform into humans, also wearing that same black robe and scarlet sash. You see a young-looking woman, maybe in their 20s, and a human man who looks to be maybe in their 30s, very thin and nervous-looking.
Okay.
They appear, and the first woman, the apparent leader, says, did either of you lead this elf here? And they shake their head. One of them looks at you and says, I'm sorry about the pig thing. I was just trying to scare you away.
Sylvo is going to just kind of look around and say, it's okay. I just wanted to help the raven, and they're upstairs, in the turret with the dolls, the scary dolls that they dropped on the floor and began to animate.
The leader of this group narrows her eyes at you and says, I think we should go together to see what you're talking about, because it's none of my flock up there, and I don't know anything about scary dolls. She says, my name is Madrina Natarask. I am the leader of this kindness of were-ravens. We've taken up roost here. We are called the Scarlet Sash, and I assure you, we mean you no harm. We just want you to leave. but I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
And Sylvo says, I am Sylvo Brightscale, and this is... And he kind of takes Brightscale out from under his arm. And this is Brightscale. He says, you follow me, and he takes her up to the room.
And as you start to lead her, she says to you, she starts to make conversation just as you guys are making your way up. Unless you want her to be quiet, I guess. But she starts to say, what brought you to this chalet? We haven't had a lot of
Sylvo just says, the Raven, just please listen, follow me. He's pretty frantic. Like, he was already, his anxiety got totally out of hand, and now he's like, the fact that the people that are apparently in charge of the house don't know about it, he's like double, triple anxious right now. So his main objective is just get it all solved as quick as possible.
Totally. So, judging your anxiety, Madrina kind of backs off of you a little bit and just kind of stays with her two companions as you lead them up the stairs. And eventually, you reach the room. The door has been shut to this nursery room at this point.
Sylvo says, it's behind that door.
Madrina kind of looks at you and says, you want me to be the one to open it?
Yes. Sylvo
Make
says,
a persuasion check.
There were creepy dolls being
Yeah, I know,
animated,
but I don't think Madrina wants to walk into a trap either here.
You said a persuasion?
Yeah.
16.
Okay, she only rolled a 10, so... She kind of nods and says, well, someone has to do it, noting that you're afraid to open it. She kind of, readies herself. As she grabs the door, you see her hand kind of transform into a taloned, hand, so she now has claws, essentially. Okay. And black feathers start to sprout along her wrist as she turns the knob and pushes it open. As you and Madrina enter the room and the other two were-ravens stay back, you see the dolls have returned to the floor, the bunks are as they were, the playpen is as it was, but standing in the middle of the room, looking at you, is the figure of a human child, except somewhat translucent. You have the sense that this is not a natural human person. She has kind of wild blonde hair, but she's probably 10 or 11 years old, and the raven is somehow perched on her shoulder. And she looks at you two and says, why did you bring them here? She says to you, Sylvo.
I was afraid. I was confused. I didn't know.
And she's in a state, it feels, of...
Yes, Sylvo is also beginning... If she's beginning to hyperventilate, he's also going to start hyperventilating. He's a very, socially anxious person, so I don't think this particular environment is doing wonders for him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, they're both... But actually, as you are getting anxious, Sylvo, and looking at this child, you start to realize she means you... no harm.
I don't think he's Sylvo. So he's socially anxious because now he's worried he's done something wrong. He's in a place that he's not invited. People are mad that he's in there. This girl is now mad that he went and told them. He's just extremely confused.
She points at Madrina and says, weeks they've been in my home and done nothing for her, my sister. And Madrina kind of prickles at this and looks back at her compatriots. And then the little girl looks at you and says, I need someone to help my sister.
And Sylvo says, okay, what do we have to do?
And she starts to shake her head, and she actually looks at the raven, and the raven looks at her, and all of a sudden, the raven kind of caws, and the spirit disappears, and the raven takes flight in the middle of the room and returns to you, Sylvo. Do you still have the book on you and the map?
No, I gave it back to... I said I gave it to the leader lady. I said I followed the raven. And
Then she actually, then the raven actually makes a beeline for Madrina, who is holding the map still in her hand, and the raven rips it out of the woman's hands and shows it to you, and like drops it onto the ground, and then viciously starts pecking at the graveyard with the Shadowfell portal on it.
Oh, okay. Is that in somewhere in near proximity to us based on the map?
Based on the map, it appears that it should be outside, maybe behind the chalet or something.
Okay, yeah, Sylvo's going to go investigate that area then. He's going to pick up the map and run toward the graveyard.
Brilliant. As you do so, the were-ravens kind of follow you somewhat amusedly, but they start to say, noting your anxiety and your kind of frustration with the situation, they say, we promise we didn't know anything about, I don't know, this ghost girl. We came here seeking shadow crossing ourselves.
Yeah, Sylvo just says, I thought there might be a dragon. I wanted to see the dragon. I didn't expect... And he kind of gestures around. Bright Scale is looking a little annoyed and displeased with all of this situation.
From what does the displeasure stem?
His eyes are just kind of
Madrina
squinting.
notes the expression and says, "What's wrong with your snake?"
He's a dragon. And Sylvo looks down and he goes, he just doesn't... He's inconvenienced. He doesn't like that. Especially if we don't get what we thought we were after. He kind of stutters along as he, again, hurriedly moves towards wherever this graveyard is.
Yeah, Madrina doesn't press you because she can tell that you are, trying to take care of this and also anxious and etc. So you go back around. Madrina actually says to you, there is a graveyard just outside, around back, and she kind of takes the lead and leads you around the hill, out the front door of the chalet, which is no longer barred shut, interestingly enough. She leads you around and down into the graveyard. You pass by a tall iron gate and fence that encloses this graveyard. There are only 4 gravestones. One larger than the other 3, one with a smaller one next to it, and then 2 sort of medium-sized ones in another area. And Madrina actually says to you, the only people buried here are the family, so I imagine that must have been one of the daughters. And she gestures to the 2 gravestones off to the right. But the father, of course, has the largest grave. Although, we all know he's not buried there.
Sylvo gets very confused for a second and just says, What are we wasting our time? And he runs over to the sister's grave.
You find these 2 gravestones. They're both labeled Heluth is one, and it says, Our pride and joy, lost too soon, 11 years old.
Okay.
And the second says, Sylphine, beloved daughter, may she find peace at last. And the dates on it indicate that she was 6 years old.
Do I still have the crow with me? I'm gonna, or the raven rather, excuse me. I say, which one?
The raven actually, alights onto Sylphine's grave, and looks at you, but make an insight check.
12.
It doesn't seem like the raven is fully satisfied that you're here, but the raven does peck at the name Sylphine, before lighting off and heading back toward the chalet.
Okay, I'm gonna follow the raven. Sylvo is going to run past the cultist, or the red sash, and run back into the chalet. Sylvo is just very, he's not very interested in people. He's much more interested in the animals. So,
Yeah, and the Raven is leading him very clearly, whereas maybe these Scarlet Sash people are not helping his
Correct.
situation.
Yeah,
any.
they're just asking him questions he's answered.
The Raven ducks into the front door of the chalet and then immediately turns left and heads down the cellar stairs and into that basement.
Okay, so he's gonna follow down again, tucking Bright Scale under his arm to make sure he stays warm and safe.
You're greeted by the same the same room that you went into previously. There appears to be in this area also a abandoned servants' quarters, also off to the side of this storage room that you were in. That door that had swung open on its own, though, at the far side of the room is still open. And the Raven flies off in that direction.
Okay, following that Raven.
The Raven lands in this room. So it's a very sparse room, just a circular room with a well in the middle of it. For drawing water for the kitchens, one could assume. But the Raven is looking down into the well, and as you're standing there, you can hear a faint whisper of a voice seeming to come from the well and say, "I can't get out."
Is there a bucket on the well? Some way to safely get down, push?
It looks like the bucket has been removed from the well. You do feel like it's narrow enough that you might be able to sort of muscle your way down there, like
Sylvo's not a
Emperor's New
muscle.
Groove it.
Yeah, Sylvo's not really a muscular guy. I think he's going to, there's nothing that I can, is there a pulley, a working pulley?
You have the ability to take control of Bright Scale, right, with the Find Familiar spell?
Let me double check that, but I don't believe,
Well, there's to tell you about physically the well, there doesn't appear to be any other way to get to the bottom of the well for Sylvo other than to try to climb.
Okay, then, yeah, he's gonna send Bright Scale down first as kind of a reconnaissance situation. So he allows Bright Scale to kind of descend and crawl down the well to see what's down there, and then come back.
It's not particularly deep, but you do. Bright Scale doesn't make any noise, right? So Bright Scale does look up at you, concerned. As you look down into the well, and you can hear various whispered phrases. Somebody says, "Brorn, where are you, boy?" And then you hear another voice say, "Help me, my legs."
God, okay. Sylvo, I guess he starts clambering down there, but again, his anxiety is shot up.
Make a strength check as you try to climb down.
That's not gonna happen. Oh, goodness. 11.
It's a DC 11 to get down there,
Thank
baby.
God. Thank God.
Sylvo has a little bit of difficulty, but he just manages to get down. As you get to the bottom, there is some standing water down there, but you can feel at your feet something metal against your because Sylvo against Sylvo's foot, you can feel something hard.
Okay, but I can't see anything else. I just feel hard metal.
Well, it's dark. It's dark down here, and there's a layer of water, so you can't see past the water.
I mean, I guess Sylvo's just gonna start wading through the water.
There's not really space to wade around. You feel something in the water down there, but you can't see what it is. You'd have to get down and try to search for it.
Okay, then Sylvo will do that.
So as you reach down and your hand gets wet, you pull from the water what appears to be a locket of some kind. And as you hold it in your hand and Bright Scale kind of climbs back up onto your shoulder, it opens up to reveal two pictures of one you recognize as a portrait, a drawing of the girl that you saw in the attic, and another is of a younger child.
And these are portraits inside the locket?
Inside of like an amulet.
Okay. Do I get the sense that this is a magical amulet that is somehow binding them here? I don't see any, unfortunate corpses or anything like that.
There's no corpse in the well. No discernible bodies or anything in this well. But you do get a sense of dread as you're holding this locket.
Okay, I'm gonna just start trying to destroy the locket.
As you do that, you hear the raven squawk loudly as you put your hands on it to potentially pull it apart. The raven squawks loudly from the top of the well. And you take it to mean that it does not like that you're doing that.
Oh, okay. Then he's going to stop and he's going to say, "Do you want it? Come get it. Come grab it."
The raven lets out the most upset, sort of low squawk you've heard. And I'll say, with your ability that lets you understand things, the raven wishes it could, but cannot go down that well.
Then he begins to climb up out of the well with it.
Make an athletics check again.
Yikes. 8.
So you have a little bit of difficulty now that your hands are wet. Eventually you can get back up out of the well, but you do take 2 points of bludgeoning damage as you kind of fall the first time you try. But eventually you're able to scramble up out of the well, and the raven looks at you with such thanks in its eyes as you hold that amulet, and it takes off in the direction of the outside again.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna run outside with it.
As you begin to leave the room, you hear a voice say, "Don't touch my daughters." But nothing happens other than hearing that voice as you leave the room and follow the raven out of the chalet. The raven has rounded the corner and is heading toward the gravestone again.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna... Sylvo notes that was said to him, and he's gonna follow the raven out.
The raven leads you all the way back to Syphene's gravestone, the younger sister, where it says, "Beloved daughter, may she find peace at last." Okay. And motions for you, basically pecks at the ground by the graveside.
He's gonna dig into the ground and try and put the amulet in the grave, I guess.
As you do that, the raven looks at you and opens its mouth slightly and slowly just fades from existence.
Okay.
And strangely, you don't see the Scarlet Sash people around anywhere as the amulet starts to glow a blue hue and tremble inside the gravesite before cracking and exploding and then fading away just as the raven did. Except as it does, it starts to push the earth. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Okay. +2, 16. Hopefully that's pretty good.
Yeah, you jump back just in time as the earth kind of pushes open and a wider passageway descent down into this grave opens up. At the end of the now open area and the sort of like ramp that leads down toward it, you see a purple light, basically, in the form of a vortex that opens up on the ground.
Oh, Sylvo gets excited, because this might be a chance to see the dragon. So he, without hesitation...
As you get excited, you see a clawed hand come out of the this portal and inch its way toward you. This is some kind of monstrosity seeming to come out of the Shadowfell, but it does launch itself at you. I need you to roll initiative.
What? Oh, God. Okay. 17.
Okay. It rolled a 2, so go ahead and make a move against it.
I am going to use my bonus action to use Shillelagh, which makes my quarterstaff do 1d8 plus 3 opposed to 1d6 minus 1. And then I'm going to attack with the quarterstaff. 19 to hit?
Yes, this thing launches itself at you, and you pull your shepherd's crook and just whack, connect with it. Go ahead and roll damage.
Ooh, that is 7 plus 10 damage.
Yeah, this thing does not have a ton of HP. You connect with it, and this claw basically crack. There's a loud crack as it's hit with this shillelagh, and it goes flying off to the side and stops moving, and actually kind of just fades into shadow as it's laying there. But before you have a chance to collect yourself, you see another of these claws skitter out of the portal, as well as a sort of imposing, tall figure that looks like a scarecrow almost. It's a twisted sort of burlap sack body with these like crooked arms coming out of it. This is some kind of very unpleasant monster. I don't know if you've encountered anything like this before.
Sylvo's not stoked on this at all. Like, Sylvo's really concerned and confused and wished he never did this to some degree, because he's just like, he's excited at the potential of a dragon, but it doesn't really seem like that is going to come to prosper, that he can tell terribly. Right now he's dealing with people and ghosts and Shadowfell, so moving forward, well, I guess
this thing comes out of the portal and starts to move toward him, but they are going to enter on their own initiatives, and I'll let you get another turn. They spend their turn moving into this area. So there's one little claw thing and this scarecrow now coming up out of the portal.
Okay. So he's going to use his bonus action again, or is Shillelagh 3 turns? Doesn't matter. We'll say, regardless, he's going to use Shillelagh on that, so that's going to be a 11 or 12 to hit. No, plus 3. Never. Oh no,
which
I don't.
Thing
not
are
on
you
the hit. Not on the hit. Sorry, only on the damage.
Which who are you hitting? So you're going down
arm.
To the claw.
He's going
the
for the little arm thing that he can, so he can get rid of any of the. You said the scarecrow thing, and then there's an arm, right?
Right. There's a little claw.
Yeah.
So you quack 12 hits. So you crack down on this claw with the shillelagh,
and that's 8 damage total.
And it again ceases to move and fades into shadow. Now you said shillelagh was your bonus action, or you use the bonus action to cast it, but then you
doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm out of stuff this turn, so it's his turn.
Okay, so as you crack down on this thing, the scarecrow looks at you and its eyes glow red. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Ooh, I think it's a dirty 20, my friend. Oh, wow. It is actually a 22. I have plus 5 on my wisdom saving.
Fantastic. So, despite your clear, apprehension and fear, you see these red eyes, and somehow you steel yourself, and you are not frightened. That is the only thing that it can do on its turn. So it is your turn again.
Yeah. If it is not broke, don't fix it. Sylvo's gonna come for a third shillelagh blow. This time on now the scarecrow. 18 to hit.
An 18 will hit.
Good. When it counts, he's rolling good. When it counts, he's rolling good. Oh, that's not great though. 4 damage.
As you connect with your shillelagh, you feel like it kind of the body of this scarecrow kind of gives a little bit as the shillelagh makes contact, and you feel like maybe you didn't hit it quite as hard as you thought you did.
Okay. His turn.
It retaliates by coming at you with its claws. It swings at you twice. It rolls an 8 and a 9. Do those hit you?
No. He has AC 13. No.
So you still manage to avoid it. It's your turn again.
He is going to, after realizing that the damage was not quite where he wanted it to be, he's going to cast a 2nd level moonbeam around him. And so a 40-foot high, a 5-foot radius, or so not on him, I guess on the scarecrow, because it's a 5-foot radius.
Okay.
When it starts its next turn, it has to make a con save, or it takes 2d10 radiant damage, or half as much on a success.
Oh, interesting. And it has to move. How long does that last for before it has to move out of that space, right?
It lasts up to 1 minute. Yeah, concentration.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is,
because this scarecrow's not going to be able to move past you and out of it, so that's not good for this scarecrow. So you said it's a con save?
Correct, and also just for record, I can use my action to move the moonbeam.
Oh, cool. Okay, I rolled a 6, so that's not going to save. You said 2d10 damage. Go ahead and roll it.
2d10, yeah. Let's do it. Okay. Ooh, okay, double 8, so 16.
Yeah, this scarecrow lets out this wail, very, skin-curdling wail as it splays its arms out and the moonbeam attacks it. It's going to make 2 wild attacks at you with its claws. I rolled a 14 and a 5. Does a 14 hit you?
14 hits me.
Okay, so you take 6 slashing damage, and you need to make a wisdom saving throw.
$18.
So it's trying to get you off by glaring into your face and swinging at you, but your resolve is steeled and you aren't frightened away. Yeah, it's your turn
Sylvo
again.
wants to get to that dragon. He's gone through all of this. He's had a very uncomfortable time. He just wants to see the dragon at the end of the story.
Right.
He's going to just do a shillelagh for his move this turn.
Now, does shillelagh count as a magical... Does your weapon attacks count as magical?
Yes.
Oh, well, in that case, actually, you did full damage the first time you hit with shillelagh.
I believe it was, anyway. Yeah, becomes magical.
Yeah, so actually you did do full damage with the shillelagh magic. But go ahead and roll to hit on your next one.
Okay. Okay, well, I had rolled, but I'll be honest, I didn't read it and it flubbed. That's 11 plus 5, 16.
That'll do it. Roll damage. You connect again with this with your shillelagh.
It's because shillelagh gets plus 5, which...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
As it screeches with the moonbeam going.
Yeah. That's 8 total damage, another 5 plus 3.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so this scarecrow, if it fails, based on the amount of damage it's taken, if this scarecrow fails this con save, it's probably going to get killed by the moonbeam, depending on how much moonbeam damage you do.
Let's see.
What is the DC?
13.
It rolled a 13.
Okay.
So it comes at you with its claws one more time in a last-ditch effort. It got a 13 and a 15.
My AC is 13.
Okay, so it hit you twice.
Okay.
You take 4 plus 3 damage is 7 damage, and you have to make another wisdom saving throw.
Ooh, not good. 10?
This time, you feel yourself filled with dread, and you are now frightened until the end of the Scarecrow's next turn, which means you have to use your movement to run away from the Scarecrow on your turn.
Okay. So then it's his turn. He does that.
Oh, actually, you don't have to move away. You just can't move closer, and you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls when it's in your line of sight. So you just have disadvantage on your shillelagh attack as you're frightened, staggering back up the grave, this ramp that leads down to the portal. But you can still fight.
Okay. 17 to... Oh, disadvantage. Oh, that would have been nice. No, 17 to hit. I got
that'll hit.
Nat 20 on the disadvantage.
Oh, man, what a bummer. But still, 17 will hit. Roll damage, and this thing does not have much health. It's got 8 health left.
Okay, cool. Then he's dead, because 9 damage.
So explain to me what it looks like as you finish this scarecrow.
He just closes his eyes, and Brightwing actually slithers down Sylvo's arm and grabs the crook and just smashes the scarecrow across the face.
Yes. And when Sylvo opens his eyes back up, it has collapsed into a pile of burlap sacks, and you feel silence come back upon this grave site as all the threats are dealt with and we are no longer in initiative.
Sylvo is going to kind of take a second to gather himself and then walk through the portal.
As you pass through this portal, Sylvo, you feel this... Has Sylvo gone to a different plane of existence before?
No, I don't think so. He's probably read about it, but I don't think he's ever done it.
It's this, wash of sensation, almost like falling asleep. Like his muscles all seem to relax as he passes through, and all of a sudden, you're laying on your back in a craggy, bleak landscape. But as you look up ahead of you, in the distance, you see a pillared structure, a building of some kind, and wrapped around the outside of the building, you see the silhouette of a black dragon tail curled around the pillars of this apparent mausoleum. And that's where we're going to end the adventure.
Oh, well, no, Sylvo wants to look at Brightscale and say... This is our home. And that's the end of the adventure.
Whoa, what? He's gonna stay?
Yeah. He was looking for a place to do, like I said, Jane Goodall,
That's super
study.
Cool. I love the idea of him trying to take up with whatever this weird Shadowfell dragon is.
After all of that, yeah, it's out of his element, sure, but that was his, his whole thing was he just wanted to be away from people and with the dragon. So
so it's perfect
it worked
in the
perfectly,
end.
Yeah. Wow, what a fun adventure. If you guys enjoyed this, remember to give it a like and subscribe so you guys can become part of the community and help it grow.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to go the extra mile to support what we're doing here at the channel, we do have a Patreon, the link to which is in the description below. I've also started making some TikToks, so if you're on TikTok, there's also a link to that in the description below. Check out what we've got there. On the Patreon, we're doing in-depth discussions of these adventures and how we think they're going. Interesting conversations that we'd love for you to see. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and remember to start adventuring. I've never said it before.
Just start adventuring.